Then we'll just go ahead with the first concept that is there in the GitHub, that is demonstrate and create a project in the local and remote repository using Git Bash and GitHub, and apply the init status log add commit push config clone and reset commands on the repository. Fine. So first we have to create a GitHub repository. Fine. So I have created a GitHub repository. Let me show you how it looks like. Fine. So this is a repository. When you just create, you will be getting it. So if you have not created, you can just hope all of you will be having a GitHub repository by now. But if you have not created, you can just have one repository created in the GitHub. Fine. If you go to the GitHub and then if you give the details, so I'll just show it to you. Fine. Just go to GitHub like this. Fine. So then you can just log in. Okay. It will just show you to log in. So since I have already logged in, let us just taking me directly to the directory. Okay. Or else you can sign up. You can give your details like name and the password you can set. Then you can create your own GitHub account. And there might be a question why we need this GitHub, why we need this Devops basically, what is the use of it? Fine. So the first question that comes to our mind is why this GitHub repository? As it indicates, the name itself is indicating that it is a hub which consists of all the codes that you need. Fine. So it's a hub where you will be having many of the codes, many of the projects that you need for different purposes. And it is being put by many of the professionals and many of the software engineers, many of the coders for that. Fine. So you can just download it and you can just execute it. So it is like coding is the main goal here. So whatever the things that they have coded, they'll just put it in GitHub, and what they can do is they can just do the commits in the GitHub and they can just track the changes in the GitHub. So all these things are possible in the GitHub directly rather than just having their own local mission platforms. Fine. So what is DevOps? Why we basically need DevOps, and what is the use of this DevOps with GitHub? So that's the next question that comes to our mind, right? So if this is the next question that is coming into our mind, is that DevOps. So if you can split both the things, it is developers and the operations team. So previously in the companies, what happened was like there was a separate developers team and there was a separate operations team, right? So the work that was given to the developers team may have taken a bit longer time, but the operations team were ready with their deliverables. So since the developers team was taking a bit long time, or maybe operations team was taking a bit long time, suppose if my team lead has asked me to give my code in 3 or 4 months, I was able to prepare my code in 3 or 4 months basically, right? So after 4 months, I have to deliver my code, and I would have given my code exactly after 4 months, exactly after my deadline, to the operations team. But the operations team may have taken extra time rather than required to deliver it to the market. So there, that was the fault of the operations team. But the developers team has done their task before, prior in date, but still the product was not deliverable to the market on time. So this was the difficulty that was faced between development team and the operations team, basically. And though the development was done very fast, there was a problem in the other team. So there was a mutual discomfort among both the teams. So what they did was, why can't we come up with something where the developers team can get involved themselves with the operations procedure rather than depending upon the operations team. So there they came up with a concept called as DevOps, where the developers team is involved in the operational procedure now for the marketing purpose. So it actually reduced the cost for the company where the developers team was involved with the operations team, and it also reduced the risk of delivering the product to the market bit late. Fine. So what happens here was the developers team himself or herself will be able to develop the code, and they will be able to check the code, they'll be able to run the code, and they'll be able to do the testing, and they'll be able to deliver the particular deliverables to the market with their own team. So everything is being involved here. Develop, run, test, all the unit testing and other parts of testing is being done here. Fine. So that is why we just came up with a concept called as Devops. Fine. So apart from the coding, with C, C++, Java, Python, anything for that matter, you will learn how actually you have to integrate your code to the external platforms. Fine. So this is a brief history about DevOps. So we'll just go look into all the things that are there in the DevOps and how we are going to implement it in our particular project to fine tune it to a complete project. Fine. So we'll just get into it. So as I told you, just sign up. After signing up, just sign in. So you will just be getting your photo like this and you will be having your name like this. I have given Divya Bharat, PROG. So you will be getting your name like this. It might ask for a different name if the name already exists in the repository. Fine. So you can just give the name provided that you have to remember your name and password. Fine. So now what is my way for you is first sign into GitHub and have your GitHub ready. Fine. Before going into the Git bash. So after that, once your GitHub is ready, I suggest you to type git bash in Google. Fine. So there is a download git scm. Fine. So you just download the git bash. Git for Windows. There is a download for Git for Windows, right? So you can just download the Git or you can just download a git bash. Fine, which acts as a command prompt for you. That is not at all an issue. After downloading, you will just be having a exe file and that will be placed in your system, as we all know, right? So the next thing I'll be doing is I'll just be typing the. So now I have my GitHub here. So now I have my GitHub here. So now I'll just give what is called as so now let me go with the git bash now. So I'll type git bash here. So if you have that on your desktop, not at all an issue, just open it, double click it and open it. So you will get a command prompt like this. CLI interface, fine. So now what should I do now? So what is it asking for me to do? Create a project in local and remote repository. I have to create a project in local repository as well as remote repository, but using a git bash. Fine, and apply. You need status log, add, commit, push, config, clone, and reset commands on the repository. Fine. So what I just want you to do is just type this git config hyphen local user dot email. So I have already typed, so I am just adding it. So you have to type it better. Yeah. So this email ID is the email ID that you have given for GitHub. Fine. Local means it will be in the local mission. Suppose if I'm just using my mission and the other person by name B, he comes and logins to my mission, then obviously if it is global, if you have set that as global, then whatever the changes that you are just going to do will be reflected in his repository, not your repository. Right? So please make sure that in that case, give it as local rather than global so that it will be useful for everyone. Fine. If you are using like one system is being used by plenty of the persons. Fine. If you have those problems also, anyhow there are other commands where you can just come out of the repository that they are using, and in the account settings also you can just come out of it, not at all an issue. But my suggestion to you is go ahead with the local. Okay, git config local user dot email. Email is nothing but the GitHub email. Right? After that I can just give the name. Sometimes see anyone if you give also it is okay, but to be on the safer side, I'll just give my name also. So user dot name, and the name that I have given is Divya hyphen. So whatever you have given, including the capital and small letter, please take care of it. Okay, Divya Bharat PROG. Fine, done. So this is how you will be having it. Then what you have to check, the other one is, I'll just show it to you. Fine. So go here. I have already created many of the projects for that matter. Fine. So it will be reflected here. Fine. So suppose if I just want, or if you just want me to create a new repository, new, and repository name, just let me give it as the PR1. Fine. So let us check whether it is taken or not. Fine. So now if you want, you can add a readme file, else no need of it. So this is how you will be creating a repository. Plus then go with this, then you just give a repository name, and I'll just choose an owner, Divya Bharat PROG. If it already exists, it will show me, and I'll just can I give it as program info program 1. Okay, I'll give it as program 1. Okay, public, anyone on the internet can see the repository. Fine. So that is, you are making it as public. And private means you can choose who can see and commit to this repository. So whenever you just do private, so when it will be useful basically is that it was for the industry people, where they will just add their code with the passwords and all, and they'll make their code as private because it cannot be public. Some of the confidential codes that they add in the GitHub may not be public. In that case, what they'll do, they'll make it as private. Right? So since we are just practicing, and since we are just adding it as public, anyone can see, anyone can download your code from the GitHub. Fine. So I'll make it as public so that anyone can on the internet can see my code. Create repository. So I have created my repository. You'll be able to see something like this, like program. Fine. So this is how you will be creating your repository. And when you go ahead with, I'll click on program 1, click on program 1 there. So when you just go ahead with this like this, so what exactly you will get here is that, so go here, go to the home. Okay, go to the home. So I have created it as program 1. Let's see. Okay, it is here, updated now. Fine. So this is your program 1 that you have created. As of now, I have not added any of the files or as such. Fine. So this is a new particular commit that you can create, and it will show you how actually you can just add, or how actually you can import the codes and all these things. And one more thing that you have to concentrate here is that main. So here sometimes there will be a term called as master. It is master commit sometimes, or it is a main commit, anything. But whichever the things that it is given here, you can just type the same thing there also, for push and for pull, and for remote add also. Fine. So now we'll just go with the further steps of our program. So now we have done this. Then I'll just go to main, branch minus m main. Okay. So I'll just copy this. Then I'll just have it here. Fine. It's already in main. Suppose if you don't have that in main, I'm just showing you the command. Git branch minus m main. Fine. So it comes to the main directory. So now what is the next command that I have to give? So I am in the main function. Now I'll initialize a directory in my particular local machine. Fine. So for that, what's the command? Command, let me just paste it better. Paste. So git initialize the demo. So it is showing reinitialize because I have already initialized my demo in the particular path. Fine. So after initializing it, what should be the next step? So I will create one sample.txt. So to create directly, echo command. We know from the command line to create something or to write something, it is nothing but echo command. Fine. And I can just specify the name also here directly. So I think I have not copied that. Let me copy it. Copy. And fine. So I think this is copying the same thing. Fine, let me just go ahead and echo hello.get sample.txt. You can just give it direct rather than copying it. Echo hello.get. This is what I'm just writing inside the file, and my file name is sample.txt. Right? So this is done now. The file is created now without any errors. So after creating a file, I should add the file. I should add the file to the, so git add sample.txt. So sample.txt is being added. Don't worry about that. Next, I have to commit it. I have to commit it. After adding a file, this is like adding a file, then you are running a file, right? So I have to commit it so that it will be placed in my particular directory, right? So let me paste it here. Git add is done. So after add, see, the procedure that you have to follow is, one is create, echo, then add, then git commit. So the commit file name is sample.txt to add to the next. Changes to be committed showing fine. So next, after this, after commit, fine. So this is like git commit sample.txt or git commit -m sample.txt committed. You can just give the message as well for that. So let us give the message. So edit message, it is showing here. So in that case, what I'll do is, okay. So what it is showing, you can just give the message rather than directly running it. Git commit -m, right? So what is this? Git commit -m sample dot text is committed for the first time. You can give any messages that you want. Right? So now one insertion is being done. So this is commit. So then I have to add it to the remote. I have to add it to the remote repository. Fine. So before that, let me take you to git log and git status. We'll see what it is. Fine. What is git log? As I have mentioned here, the git log command displays the commit history of the repository. It provides a chronological list of commits starting from the most recent commit. The information that will be displayed here is unique hash identifier, author's name, date, time of commit, and the commit message. So we'll see whether all these things are displayed. With the git log, author's name, commit message needs to be displayed. Fine. It gives the log files, right? So whenever we have something called as log, obviously it gives the history, who has entered and who has done what and at what time, all these things, right? So in the same way, I have my log file here, which actually tells me who is the author, who has done the changes and what changes he has done. And you have to provide the changes. I have mentioned the message there, right? So what that message indicates me is that I have committed first time. Okay, suppose you have your in a particular team of 5 members, you have your friend who actually goes through your code and he might perform some changes to your code. So there he has to mention what changes he has done, or else it is not a proper way of programming. Someone can do it and the other one can edit all these things. Fine. So whatever you do, you have to commit along with the message that is being informed for you. So now git log, I think hope you are able to see. See, the commit is done with the header pointing to the main, and the commit ID is being seen here, and it is done by Divya Bharat PROG, and the time is December 25th, Monday, and it is showing the system time that I have with me, and the message sample.txt is committed for the first time. Fine. Before that, I have committed the same thing. I have committed sample.txt with the other in the other folder. Fine. It is also, that is also being shown here. If you can look at here, commit ID is shown, different ID is shown, and the same author, and the time is different. Sample.txt committed. So I have given different message here so that I'll be able to identify between those two. One is sample.txt is committed for the first time. The other one is sample.txt already committed. Fine. So this messages are very essential when we just work with GitHub. Fine. So that is a commit message. So this is the use of log. What log shows? Author, and when it is committed, it is like a log file that we maintain. It is like a log record that we maintain. Who has come, when he has gone, and what changes he has done. All these things will be maintained here. Now let us see the other command that we had, status. So see, if everything, if is there anything that is being added to staged area that is yet to be committed, so that will be shown by the status. Just commit this. See, you have added it to staged area, but you have not committed the file yet. That will be shown by the status message. Okay, status, why it is used? Basically, see, status command provides information about the current state of the working directory and the staging area, as I told you, to the last commit, helping you to determine which changes are staged, unstaged, or untracked. You might have been added the file, git add, and you might not have been staged that. That is, you might not have been committed. Fine, you might have left it as it is. Then it will show that kindly commit the particular file. So that is shown by the status command. Since I have already committed the file here, nothing added to commit, but untracked files present. That is, you have to move it to the remote repository. Fine. So that is what will be shown for the present working directory by your status command. Fine. Hope you are getting my point. So this is for git log, git status, and the other thing is we have created a file using echo, and then we have, as I told you, create. What's the next one? After create, it will be add, then it will be commit. That's done. Now I am ready with my file. I have to push the file that I have made in my local machine to the GitHub. Fine. So what I'll do, I will just have a command here, git remote add origin. Okay. So git remote add origin. I'll just type only this much. Okay. I'll tell you how to do it. Git remote add origin. Git remote add origin. Double quotes. From where I have to take the link? From where I have to get the link? See. See, you are seeing SSH here. I'm telling you program 1. I'm there in program 1, whichever the repository that I have created. When you just go ahead with that, you will see something called as SSH here. Fine. And you will be seeing something written like this, https github.com Divya Bharat prog. This is the name. And program1.git. Fine. So this is the path that I have to copy to push my code into it. So what I'll do, I'll just give the same path inside double quotes. Okay, I'll give the same path inside double quotes. So what it is showing, it already exists. Git remote add origin http Divya Bharat prog program1.git. Fine. So what it is showing is it already exists for me. So you can just type the same thing, not at all an issue. Fine. So next what I'll do, I have to push my program here. So that is the same thing that is being added here. Okay. I have to push my program here. Let me try pushing the program in that case directly. Just directly copy paste the command here. Okay. From the main. Okay. What it is showing, enumerating objects 5 done, 100% done, and writing the objects, and your particular code is pushed from the main to the git main function. So git main, that is first project dot git. Fine. So the next thing that I have to do here is that after that, what I'll do is I have pushed the particular code here. Suppose if there are anything that is not pushed, you can just give -f. That is force push. Okay. -f can also be given if it is not possible. Okay. The next thing is I have to clone the complete thing that is pushed there. So you can just go ahead and you can just check there. Fine. So what I'll do, I'll refresh. What I'll do, I'll refresh GitHub. I'll just refresh GitHub here. So this is program 1, right? So what I'll do here is that I'll refresh, I'll go to home. So you can refresh and you can see, but before that we'll just go ahead and we'll just see there, cloning the repository from there, whatever is there. Okay, so git clone, whatever was there, it has to come and sit here, right? So what is this doing? Divya Bharat PAROC, it already exists. I am just pushing it. Okay, so let me clone. This was a different path, so let me clone from here. One dot git. Okay, let me clone. It's cloning into program 1. Cloned an empty repository, so still the pushing has not happened in that case. Fine. So what I have to do is that in that case, git remote add origin, and I'm giving it as I'll just have the another command. It's pushed in the main directly. Fine. Yes. So now if the remote origin already exists and if I just want to see no particular program is existing there, so then what should we do is git push origin minus yeah, but already the particular things are being pushed there, right? So let me go to the GitHub directly. Okay, I'll take this add origin. See, yes. So whenever it shows that when we added a previous origin, if it is taking again and again the same thing, what can be done here is that you can add a command called -v, that is git remote -v. So yes, if it shows like the origin already exists, so remote -v, and then the command is rename origin old origin. So old origin will be renamed. You can give add remote origin once again. Fine. So the next thing is after adding a remote origin, then I can push my code. What I'll do, I'll again push my code here. So what is it? Where we have given git push -u origin main. So it actually pushes the complete code to the new origin now. Fine. So the next thing is I have to clone. Clone means create a copy of the same thing, whatever you have pushed there, into your local machine. So git clone, the command is like this, git clone, and you can give the path name as you have given for the previous one to push into the GitHub. That is GitHub repository path. So it already exists and it is not an empty repository. So we'll just go and see whether it exists or not. So now if you can see in program 1, I have sample.txt, and inside sample.txt I have this hello.git. Inside sample.txt I have this hello.git. Fine. So then if I just go ahead with the things here, you can just type this and cloning into the program 1. It will show cloning into the program 1 and it will show you the cloned context. Fine. So suppose if you have cloned it earlier and there was not proper push that is being happened, then it would not, you will face problem in cloning the particular content again. Okay, then you just remove the directory program 1 from your local machine, then again clone it back so that you will be able to see the complete contents. Fine. So this is how it looks like. See, VVCE, it was shared here, and program 1. See, I have that program 1. program one. Inside program one, I should have the sample, and inside the sample dot txt, I have this allow get written from iecho function. Fine. So this is your clone command. So the next command that we have is the last command. See, we have seen applying init, that is initialization, status, that is where we have in which area we have, that is have we added, have we committed, and all these things, and that is the staged area. And then log means who is the author and at what time the commit happened and what was the history of the file, all these things. And add, after creating a file you have to add, then you have to commit, then you have to push to the remote directory, config to set the remote directory, then clone to clone it back, and then the reset command. So reset, which will point to the particular directory where you are. Fine. So if I just give get reset, so yes, it is showing that the number with the sample.txt is committed for the first time. That is whatever the message that you have given there. So you can just see that number there in the GitHub dashboard. If you just go here and if you just give it as program one. So yes. So yes, there is a number. See, this is a number A45E409. The same thing is here for the data point in there, A45E409. So this is what the message that is committed for the first time along with the git. So this completes the first part of it, whatever we have seen as the initial part of git program. Thank you.